Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Knit California channel. My name is Leslie. I'm Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok. And today we're talking about my 2024 Make 9. Rocky, what's on your Make 9, huh? What are you making this year? Mess number 1 through 9? Okay. This is my third going on fourth year knitting, and I have never made a Make 9 before. But earlier this week I had a very strong urge and desire to make one for this year, so I did. Some of the patterns on my list I have been wanting to make for a really long time. Some of them are more warm weather appropriate knits. Some of them well, actually, all of them I have yarn picked out for already. Some of them, it's just not here yet. But I'm going to walk you through all 9 of the patterns that I really hope I make this year, and the yarn choices if I have them available here, and share that with you. So let's get into number 1. So the first pattern on my Make 9 is the Clove Sweater by Rachel Kurihara. If you watched my last video, which was an analysis of did I wear my knits in 2023, you would have seen that the Clove Sweater was my most worn knit in 2023 with 36 wears. I finished this at the end of 2022, and honestly, that's impressive to myself that I wore something 36 times, and it tells me that, you know, it's one of my top wears in my wardrobe. It would be nice to have a second one in a different color. So that's the first thing on my Make 9, and the yarn that I'm going to use for it is this. This is Sewrella yarn in the color, in her Cashmere DK base. So you can see it's an 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon blend, in the colorway wine bottle green. Doesn't it just look like the color of a wine bottle? I love it so much. I think it's gonna make, I think this like olivey green color really works for me, and it's different. It's very different from the Clove Sweater that I already have, which is knit in Barrel Aged Sour. It's a deep red, purple, burgundy variegated colorway, and I love that color so much, but I think this will be a nice different color for a sweater that I already know I love the shape and the fit of. So this is number 1 on my Make 9. Number 2 on my Make 9 is the Ingrid Sweater by Petite Knit. Okay, I have ordered 2 separate yarn orders for this sweater, and I don't have either of them with me, but I didn't know if I wanted to go like a light or a dark, so I need to see both of the colors, and then once I have them, then I'll be able to decide which yarn I'm going to use for it. But this sweater has been like at the top of my to make list since it came out in, when did it come out? In March of 2022. I know it had a huge popularity phase in 2022, and we're going into 2024, and it's like still at the top of my mind, on the top of my list. So that's why it's in my Make 9 for 2024. I love the texture. I love all of the different motifs. I just love the pattern so much. So the yarns that I have coming to me are both from Treehouse Knits, and I'll put up photos. The first one is Basalt, which is like a dark purpley gray color, and the second one is Harvest Moon, which is a light purpley gray color. Harvest Moon really reminds me of the color Folklore from Sewrella that I knit my Oslo sweater in, and I think at this point I'm leaning more towards the Harvest Moon lighter color. I think it'll really show the details of the sweater really nicely, all the cable and texture. Are there cables in it? The little cross hatches, but I think it'll show the details of the sweater really nicely. So that's what I'm leaning more towards, but we'll have to wait and see when both of the colors finally arrive, and then I'll be able to make my decision. So stay tuned. I will show both of them on the podcast when I get them both in, and we can make that decision together. So that's number 2 on my Make 9. Number 3. It's really interesting. Well, there's a couple interesting connections between some of the patterns on my Make 9. But number 3 on my Make 9 is the Ingrid Summer Sweater by Gregoria Fibres. Yes, I have 2 sweaters named the Ingrid Sweater on my list. They're by different designers, they are different patterns, but it's just really funny. So I like this sweater because it's like a summer sweater. It's meant to be a warm weather sweater. The yarn that you're meant to knit it in is not a wool yarn. It's meant to be a blend so that it's a little bit lighter weight, and that is something that I'm really looking more into going into 2024, is to not knit every single sweater in a wool blend. In a wool yarn, though you will see a lot of wool still, but I'd like to get more into non-wool bases also. And that's what this sweater and at least 2 of the other sweaters on my Make 9 are fulfilling that category. So the yarn, I don't have it with me yet, the specific yarn that I'm going to be using for this one, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the Sandnes Garn Line. This is actually a spoiler for one of the other makes on my Make 9. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a different color for the Ingrid Summer Sweater, so that's why this is like the yarn, but it's not the yarn, if that makes sense. And the reason I haven't gotten it yet is because my local yarn store, Apricot Yarns in San Diego, I know carries this, so I know whenever I'm ready to knit it, I can very easily go down and get it or just order from them. I just have to decide what color I'm going to make it in. But I think having a long sleeve sweater knit in this alternative base, let me tell you, it's 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. So it's a cotton linen viscose blend. I have used this before and I loved knitting with this, and I really like the finished object wearing this fiber. So I'm really excited to be using it again, potentially twice more next year. So that's the Ingrid Summer Sweater. While I'm holding this, I will tell you the number 4 pattern on my Make 9 that I will be using this yarn for is the Farnham Tee by the Knit Pearl Girl. I have been so in love with stripes this year in 2023, and I only knit one thing in stripes. I knit the Helianthus tank in stripes. But I have been admiring both the Farnham Sweater and the Farnham Tee from the Knit Pearl Girl all year since they came out. And so I actually, you know what, this is numbers 4 and 5. I have both the sweater and the tee on my Make 9 for this year. So for the tee, I'm going to be using this Sandnes Garn Line. I'm going to use the white cream color as my main color and this black, dark gray almost, for the contrast color stripes. And I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be like just the perfect t-shirt, I'm really hoping, I kind of have this crazy thought that if I really like the first one, I would love to make a second one also in this cream color main color, but with like red and green stripes for the contrast color as like a Christmas version. Because I try to wear like regular wool sweaters every year on Christmas, and it's just too freaking hot. It was like 72 degrees this year and I was wearing my cardigan and I was like, I can't wear this anymore. So having a tee I think would be really nice. So anyways, we're gonna start with number 1, this striped, black and white striped version first, and then we'll see if we get to the other one. But so this is my yarn choice for the Farnham Tee. For the Farnham Sweater, I actually just ordered this yarn yesterday and I'm so excited for it. I was talking with Audrey from Dusty Yarn Co. and she's knit the Farnham Sweater in her alpaca sport weight base, and she knitted in this beautiful green color with white contrast color stripes, and I just loved it so much. My original plan was to do like a creamy white base with black stripes, very similar, following the pattern sample from the Knit Pearl Girl. But as I was talking with Audrey and as I was like looking at her colors more and more, I was like, what if I did like your white cream color base that you have with Shook, which is a purple color, and do purple as the stripes? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. So she like sent me a photo of the two colors together and I loved them so much. And then I was looking at the photo and I was like, what if we switched it and did purple, did Shook as the main color, and did the white stripes? And that's what I landed on. So it's very different from what I originally thought I wanted for this sweater, but I'm really excited about the yarn for multiple reasons. First, the colors. I think they're gonna turn out so good. Second, the sample and the pattern recommends a fingering plus a mohair yarn held together, and I originally wanted to do it in that combo, but when I was originally looking up like yarn, it was getting really expensive because you have to buy a lot of yarn when you're buying fingering plus mohair, and normally that wouldn't be an issue for me. Honestly, if I wanted it, I would just do it. But I didn't pull the trigger when I was looking at yarn bases a couple months ago. Like, something just stopped me. And I'm really glad that I didn't buy the yarn when I was looking at it, because I'm really excited first to try out this alpaca sport weight base from Dusty Yarn Co. and to be knitting it in like a non-mohair yarn. I think it's gonna be nicer. I already know that I wear garments that don't have mohair or suri in them. I wear garments that don't have mohair and suri in them more often than I wear the garments that do have mohair and suri in them. So I think it just gives the Farnham Sweater more of a chance to be a higher worn knit after I finish it, if that makes sense. So those were numbers 4 and 5. Number 6 on my list is the Ribbed Tier Measure Tank by Lacey Williamson. And the yarn that I'm going to use for this is Hedgehog Fibres, their sock yarn, in the colorway Purr. Purr. And it's this beautiful purple tonal that I got in Ireland, and I'm so excited to knit this up. I started wearing tank tops like a lot this year. I found the Old Navy like tank tops, high neck tank tops, really wearable for myself this year, and this Rib Tier Measure tank really emulates the style of those tank tops. So it comes up really high at the neck. It is a ribbing texture, which I think will be nice just for fit and to add a little bit more interest to the tank. And I think this will be a really nice piece to have for the spring, summer, early fall months, and also to have as a layering piece to wear underneath some more cardigans that hopefully I'm planning to knit. Although I don't know how much this purple color really goes with the colors I've got planned for some of my cardigans. But we'll see. I mean, if I like it, I can just knit it in another color, right? That's the plan anyway. So this is number 6 on my list. Number 7 on my list is the Poppy Tee by Petite Knit, and the yarn that I'm planning to use for this is Kelbourne Woolens Mohave in the colorway Mauve. I picked this up earlier in 2023. I think this was during local yarn shop day. Was it local yarn shop day or Worldwide Knit in Public Day? I don't know. One of those days, Apricot Yarns was having like a sale, a big get together, and that's when I picked this up. And I don't know, I'm really excited to use this. I saw Amy from Knee Knits knit the Poppy Tee this year with this yarn. It was in a different color, but she said it was a nice knitting experience and she liked the finished object, so I'm really excited for it as well. I really like this mauve color. I think it'll be really nice for a tee. And the other thing about this is it's a cotton linen blend. It's a 60% cotton, 40% linen. So this really goes towards my goal of using more non-wool blend yarns, which I'm excited for. And Southern California, we're basically in the Mojave Desert, so that makes me happy as well. So that's the Poppy Tee. Number 8 on the list is the Cove Sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. This pattern came out pretty recently this year in 2023, and I love it because it's a classic drop shoulder sweater with 2x2 rib details, and I just think this is going to be, if it fits me the way that I think it's going to fit me, it's going to be like another version of the Clove Sweater and how much I love the Clove Sweater, and I'm really excited for it. Yes, I think it's particularly funny that I have the Clove Sweater, C-L-O-V-E, and the Cove Sweater, C-O-V-E, on my list. That's another another funny duo. The Ingrid, the Clove, the Cove, the Farnham, the Farnham. I don't know why I did this to myself, but that's what I wanted. Anyways, the yarn that I'm going to use for this is this. This is Dusty Yarn Co. Yes, we just talked about Dusty Yarn Co. In their classic fingering weight base in Bougainvillea, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and their classic Suri lace base in the same color. Can you even? I'm so excited to knit another hot pink sweater in this color and have it be the Cove Sweater. I think it'll just be so nice, so much fun. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It's gonna be hot pink, it's gonna be amazing, it's gonna be neon. I love a drop shoulder, and I think it's gonna be perfect. So, my Cove Sweater. And last but not least on my Make 9 list is the Colette Pullover by Sari Nordland. This is an all-over cable sweater, so definitely something a little bit different. We've got some texture in there, but this sweater, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, nah, I don't know if I like it. And then I started seeing more and more of it, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept going back to looking at it on Ravelry, and I was like, oh no, I love this sweater. I think this is gorgeous. And I was looking at my yarn spreadsheets, my yarn stash spreadsheet, to see if I had any yarn available that I could use to knit this in, and I found this from Red Door Fiber Studio. This is the colorway Unrequited Love on her Bougie sock base. So it's an 80, yeah, 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon. And when I saw this and I like compared it to the Colette Pullover cable pattern, I was like, oh, this is it. This mauve purple color in those cables, can you imagine? Can you even imagine? It's gonna be so good. I think this pattern is probably the one that's most likely to not get made on my Make 9. I hate to say it, but I put it on there because I really want to make it. I really want to use this yarn. I've had this since early 2023 and I really love the pattern. So I think they would just be so beautiful together. So that's it. Those are the 9 patterns on my Make 9. And again, I just want to say, this is my first time doing a Make 9. I've seen a lot of people do Make 9s over the past couple of years, and for a lot of people, they don't fully finish all 9 patterns on their list, and that's okay. I think if I finished all 9 of them, it would kind of be a miracle. Because I am the type of person that likes to like commit to something and then, especially like knitting, very low stakes here, commit to something and then change my mind. And if that happens, that's okay. Like, I'm not going to be upset if I don't finish all of these patterns. It's just something fun. It's a fun goal to set for myself at the beginning of the year. It was a really fun exercise to take all of these patterns that have been in my head that I've been thinking about for so long and put them into a Ravelry bundle and put them into my journal as like the top 9 patterns that I want to knit for this year. I'm really excited about this page in my journal. So I've got all 9 of them, and then I've got this page blank so that if/when I complete one of the patterns, I can put my own picture with the finished object in here. So I'm really excited to be working through that this year along with other things in my journal. But yeah, again, we're not going to sweat it if it doesn't get done, if some of these don't get made. So that's where we're at with my Make 9. Again, I'm excited for it. And keep following along through my podcasts to see the progress on all of these, as well as some other things. And I do have to say, let's talk about, I do already have some issues with my Make 9, but we're not going to go back and change things at this point. I really want to knit more cardigans, and there are no cardigans on my Make 9. I did have some when I was originally like making it. You know, you dump, you know, like 15 to 20 patterns into the Ravelry bundle, and then you pare them down. And I did have some cardigans in there, and for some reason I took them off. So just know there will be other things made this year by me that are not on this list, and like that's fine too. I definitely knit more than 9 garments this year, so hopefully I can do both. We'll see. There also are a good number, like over half of these are long sleeve wool sweaters. Which like that's a lot of what I have in my stash is yarn for these long sleeve wool sweaters, but I would love to knit a lot more, or try to knit a lot more items in non-wool yarns. So I do think I'm, you know, part of the way there. 3 of the patterns on my Make 9 are using non-wool yarns, which is good. I think that's like a good first step. And I do think that's something that I'm going to be working towards, like not just in 2024, but beyond that as well. So I'm not going to get upset at myself if like not everything I knit this year is going to be in non-wool yarns. That's just how it is. So anyways, I'm just talking in circles now. So that's it. Question, do you have a make 9 this year? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Do we have any patterns that are similar on our make 9s? Or like, what are the patterns that are on your make 9s? I'm very curious to know. And if you're not following, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can keep informed through all my podcasts on this make 9 journey. So I'm wishing you all a very happy new year, happy 2024, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!